Wednesday, May 13th. So let's start backwards here. So jurisdiction activities due tomorrow that I signed that we went through on Monday. The 511 video explains it, goes through a couple of the answers as well. Which court hears the case? Remember, jurisdiction is who hears the case, which level of court hears the case. Is it a first blush at the court, meaning like is it the court of original jurisdiction, or is it the court of second and third resort based on appeals? As we speak about levels of court and jurisdiction, we looked at the federal courts pretty extensively. So today we're going to look at today's activity. We're going to look at the organization of the state courts. And I normally what I would do is reverse it. Next week we'll start looking at the Supreme Court. I would actually, in progression, start looking at the Supreme Court next a little bit more extensively, the U.S. Supreme Court. However, because of the seniors and they kind of had government and the freshmen haven't, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to give the seniors as their last assignments here before they get out. Two things, and then if the seniors have been, I'll talk about that in a minute. Sorry, getting out of order. State court triangle. The state court triangle is the idea that that you're going to look at some guided notes, guided questions on jurisdiction, responsibilities, and of our local court, of our state court system. Starting at the top with the Supreme Court, and then the next levels, the Court of Appeals, the Court of Claims, which is basically where you go if you want to file suit against the state of Michigan. In today's world with this COVID-19 pandemic and people filing a suit against the state of Michigan for various civil liberties violations with the state homeowners, they end up in the Court of Claims, civil suits. District courts, these are the courts that handle, I will tell you, misdemeanors. And what other types of cases do they handle under the criminal realm? So they handle under A, I can tell you right here, it's misdemeanors, and then felonies. What cases do they handle felonies? The arraignments. Arraignments are when you're actually arraigned at when you're charged with a crime and you plead. That's usually handled at the district court. Probate courts. These are handled at the level of these are handled for wills and trusts and so on. And then the circuit court. The circuit court, our local circuit court, I will give this kind of away. It's the 7th Circuit of the probate court. It's the 7th Circuit. In the district court, it's the 67th District Court. It's funny story, not really funny story, but used to be that Flint, when it was a bigger city, had its own district court, 68th District. It merged about 4 years ago with the 67th District. So now there's various locations for the 67th District Court, but they also operate in Flint as well. The judges kind of move back and forth between the McCree building and then there's a courthouse on Silver Lake Parkway as well in Fenton. I think that's 67-2 or something like that. But it's the 67th District and there's 5 locations in Genesee County for that. And those are the cases, the landlord tenant and those types of cases that are handled. I'm going to move my fat face out of the way. Landlord tenant, traffic, small claims, etc., that are handled. I've just kind of given a couple things away here. And then you've got circuit court, friend of the court. Friend of the court is under the family division, because the family, there's 2 different divisions in the circuit court: the criminal civil division, They handle the felony cases. This is the major trial court of the our state system. This is where the felony trials take place. And then you have the family division. This is where and some judges just focus solely on family. This is it's getting late. This is where the divorce, custody visitations, juvenile probate takes place in that court. And then you have the Court of Claims again. This is where the cases are heard that against the state of Michigan, the claims against the state of Michigan. Now, and then the Court of Appeal, there's 4 locations, one of which is is Detroit, and then and others. And what are they elected to? And what do the panel of judges decide? And then the Michigan Supreme Court, the highest court. And there is a possibility of moving from the Michigan Supreme Court to the federal Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court. Is a constitutional question. Where are you going to find this information? You can find this information in these websites, and this one is going to be your best one to find information that isn't. And if you click on these, it will have more information. As this one on a secondary level, it introduces it, but this is the major one that will have information about Michigan trial courts and what they do, and so on, and what their responsibilities are. And I kind of gave away, this is 67th District, 7th Circuit. So that everything else is in that. It should be in that website in terms of what they handle, what types of cases they heard. So again, this one is a panel of judges will do what? What type of cases will handle what type of cases, right? I guess would be the major question. Excuse me, that's not the question. Will do what? What will they do? The panel of judges will blank here in terms of what they do on specific appeals, right? And that's for you to decide. So this is the state court triangle. I've given away a lot of that to find information on there. I put another assignment in here because I don't think this one's super long, but I also put one in here because if you are the Organization of Federal Courts. Now, this is going to be part of what's going to go on next week. There won't be anything on Friday, obviously. I might talk about the jurisdiction activity. I might record something on that. This is like we had this before when we had way back. I think it was assignment 12, but this was way back when we were still in school. On when we talked about the federal courts and what they do. This is basically their organization. So this is a web quest, and you will go through and answer the questions on this web quest to the best of your ability, starting with state courts versus federal courts. So if you go through this, let's say we're starting here with the state courts versus federal courts. You can read information about that or remember what we talked about. And then if I start, you're going to answer 3 questions. You can go to list, and then it'll tell you whether you've answered them. And then you'll put a list, and then and then it'll say whether you've answered them or not. And then you can continue to list that, and it'll give you a score at the end. It'll give you a score after each section, and then you go through the different sections here: state courts, the U.S. Supreme level of federal courts, about federal judges, and so on. Where do you record this? You're going to open up another tab and put your tallies in here. This isn't where you answer the questions. This is where you this isn't where you answer the questions. This is where you tally how you've done. Okay, this is where you tally how you've done. Did you answer this question correctly? Did you answer this question correctly? Is what you're, and I put all the questions in here, and then you're going to tally your score and keep track of your score. So that, and again, it doesn't matter. My fat face comes back. It doesn't matter what your score is. Just put your best effort in. I'm going to give you credit for doing it. As long as you put in a decent effort with this, you don't get like 2 out of 20, but put in a decent effort, and you'll get credit for doing this particular assignment as long as you track what you've done here. Okay, so this, and here's the deal, and here's why you have 2 things. This isn't Doodle Tuesday. This is the state court triangles due on Monday. Here's the deal, and here's why I put this up. This is part of what will be Monday's assignment, this A30. This is considered Wednesday. This will probably be considered part of next Monday. There'll be probably something else, probably a short Supreme Court paradeck that will be part of next Monday as well. However, I'm going to say this. If the seniors have been working, and I mean working well, the seniors that have been working well, I'm talking to the few of you that have, if you're watching this, you're done after this. I'll call you done. If you've got everything squared away and done, and this comes up to 80%, then you're good to go. I'll call you good to go. Okay, that's part of the reason why I did that, so the seniors could get a little ahead on this. The freshmen, you've got a little bit more time till the end of May, and then you have missing assignments turned in by the end of May, and then we'll continue into the next week in June, whatever that week of Memorial Day, whatever we have going on that last week in May. So that's kind of the schedule that's been set by not me, but by Lake Fenton administrators. So this is what you got going on. This is the overdue assignments, rights of the accused scenarios, Supreme Court rights of the accused. I graded most of these. I based on, and because I gave you video feedback if you were on time with those. I need to put those in though. So that covers what we're doing. So again, the focus of today is state courts and levels of state court. I gave a lot of the information as I was kind of rattling on, but you can go to those websites that they're listed there to figure that out. And this is in terms of the state court triangle and the levels of responsibility from the state courts. So we'll look at that, and then look at more state versus federal courts and the organization of the federal court system. A reiteration of what we did with the Pear Deck, looking at the organization of the federal courts. So today, the big theme: organization of the courts.